Hey everyone! Today we're taking a fresh look at Songs of Syx, as I promised I would a while back in the first review video. I'm only really focused on the changes here, so if you haven't seen the original video, you might want to check that out first. There's been a few big changes to the game over the last few months. As you might remember, we had a few races to choose from before, each with different likes and interests. This time around, we have even more options. Humans have been added, and also these bug people. While humans seem a little bit more well-rounded, this new race of meat-hungry insects seem pretty perfect for our next big topic, changes to the battle and conquest system. The world map, which was effectively really just cosmetic before, it's now a more living thing. Rather than having a random dude named Krull that threatens and attacks you regularly, the fighting is a little bit different now. Armies spawn on the world map from afar, and you can actually see them approach your city. At home, the training and army formation system is pretty much the same as before. You create individual divisions within your army, set population size, training levels, and equipment. I'm not exactly sure how important these aspects may be later on, but for now, it doesn't really seem that critical to change much of anything. Songs of Syx can be difficult in certain ways, but as with many city builders or colony games, the secret seems to be learning what to balance and how to do it. In my experience so far with these bug folk, I found that just by going way overboard on meat production, these little guys stayed insanely happy, and the population kept going up. In fact, I didn't have any need to use the new slavery system at all. I found myself with a big labor and resource surplus in my run. There's still a ways to go in this game when it comes to the balance of certain things, and it's no surprise to see a few items out of whack, especially when dealing with brand new concepts. In the same vein, the battles on the world map, another totally new concept. They don't function at all like I assumed they would, but it's certainly an interesting direction for the game to head into. I guess the new system is somewhat similar to caravans in RimWorld, but this isn't about trade or completing missions, at least not yet. Essentially, you can muster armies and move them. You could head off attacking armies this way, or even attack other settlements, but if you want to keep your armies out there, they'll need to stay supplied. New buildings in town function to supply your overworld armies. They'll need rations, weapons, clothes, and drinks. Having a healthy supply of each of these pretty much means you already have a well-functioning civilization, and it's important to know that if you run out of any of these things when you have armies out there, those armies will disband. If you're in a bind, you also have the ability to conscript mercenaries, though the price is pretty steep, and it's not a one-time fee. The rate at which I was getting raided seems to be a lot less often than I remember, but the number of attacking troops was higher than what I was used to before the update. Initially, I was a bit worried, but it seems like I was able to defend my city pretty easily. The flavor text would lead me to believe that this new race has a fighting edge, so maybe that's the reason they didn't even seem to take losses. The battle itself, at least the battle to defend the city, revolves now around the enemy army being able to get close and survive. You might recall the old system was simply a fight to the death. I found it interesting that mustering an army onto the world map didn't affect the standing army or population of my city. This puts players into a much better position to keep things in balance, and saves some frustration after a raid or a risky assault. Though, it does come at the cost of needing to really overproduce for those supply items, because you'll need enough surplus to feed an army. I'm not yet too sure about the benefits of attacking and raiding the civilizations around you. Winning individual battles results in the spoils of victory, but the trade system allows you to fairly easily access just about everything you might need. Trade automation in this game is solid, and deeply customizable. It's possible to set limits and automatic guides in place so you're able to sell off inventory without really overdoing it. And you can also set up inbound rules. Each of these function as a percentage of your total warehouse capacity, so as long as you keep that in mind, the settings should grow with you. In my colony, for example, it was a lot easier to get stone and metal delivered than it would have been to build those production lines on my own. Instead, I sold off the excess leather and clothing that was made possible by my very carnivorous lifestyle. There's still work to be done with the UI to make it a lot more understandable in the future, especially with the addition of this new concept of administration. Points now allow you to upgrade, tax, and change policies for your civilization. But like most of the other UI screens in the game, things are very functional, but they're not very clear on how to use them. Another very good example of this is with the ability to automatically allow immigrants, which is very possible for the game to do, but it almost feels like a hidden feature. The UI is actually more usable than it looks. It's very deep. Hopefully it can be tweaked a little bit in future iterations. This is, very understandably, it feels more like a development console, because it is still being added onto. As it stands, there's a little learning curve that involves stumbling onto some of those cool features from time to time. I like the additions to the game. It feels like this is a promising amount of progress over the last 5 or 6 months. I don't know if there's an eventual goal to have multiple cities or civilizations going on at once. That seems like it really wouldn't be feasible without overtaxing your computer system, but I am curious to see where this world map and conquest system really leads. Stay tuned as things continue to update, and let me know in the comments if there's anything specific in this game you want to see. As always, I appreciate your time with me today. Thanks for watching.